So today is a very special one. We are at this spectacular venue called Venue Dos 90, and I couldn't have thought of a better spot to film Mel Semé's interview and his concert, because this place is truly subconsciously, I mean, I don't know how the choice fell on this venue. This place truly reflects how multifaceted he is and how much deeper he is than meets the eye, whether as a person, as a human being, as an artist, as a musician. This has been quite fascinating, and I cannot wait for you guys to discover him.
So my name is Mel Semé. That's my stage name. My real name, the one that my mom put me, was it is Melchizedek Semé. It's a name from the Bible. It's a Hebrew name. It means King of Justice. And some people say it means King of Peace because, of course, if there's justice, there's peace. So some people translate it as King of Peace. I like that. I do music in general. I love interacting with arts of all sorts.
You're a member of the Orquesta Sinfónica de Camagüey, is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah.
And La Habana.
Yeah.
So my first instinct was, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but to play with an orchestra, like you have a classical training.
Yeah.
What did you study? I would define you mostly as a vocalist, but I know that you've played drums.
I'm a professionally trained symphonic orchestra percussionist. But I studied in Cuba in the University of Havana, so I used to go to church. I was always like sort of like taking the place that was empty in the band. So one day I would play a little bit of the guitar, the other day I would play the piano, the other day I would play the accordion. And so like that I grew up like sort of like playing around with different instruments. The singing was always there somehow, but in the background. In church you sing all the time, but I never was like a lead singer. I always was like doing like backing vocals and stuff like that.
When did you find your voice, like your sound as a vocalist?
My music career took me to different places in the world. When I arrived in Barcelona, I wanted to keep on pursuing my jazz drummer career.
Okay.
And it was hard. Herbie Hancock, he came to our school and he had this master class and he spent the whole day at the school. So I was sitting on the bench and he came and he sat just by my side, and we started talking to him. Some friends came, and one of the things I was asking him was like, how do you get to be Herbie Hancock? Come on, it's like, I would love to be like, you know, a jazz musician like you. So he said like, well, of course you need to study and you need to practice a lot, but notes by themselves have no meaning. So whether the story of music, studying music is extremely important, the most important thing to study is how to live. I only understood that when I came to Barcelona and I found out that music is a way of life. So it was really difficult. I had to like get to my toolbox and grab some stuff from the past. So I started like playing guitar and singing at hotels and bars and started to open up my ears. I needed to, because I needed to get into the world of making a little bit of money to pay my rent. I started like connecting to my gospel roots. So I started listening to the Beatles, to Bob Marley, and started to enjoy and seeing that It doesn't matter how simple it is. What matters is how authentic it is.
Why did you come to Barcelona in the first place? And for someone who performs a lot outside of Barcelona, what is keeping you anchored here?
When I first traveled out of Cuba, I came to Catalonia to perform for like 2 months. And it was like my first experience outside of Cuba. And I fell in love with Barcelona and Catalonia in general, and the diversity and the sea and the mountains and all the different villages and the food. And I went back to Cuba. And then I did some other travels, but I always kept the idea of I need to go back to Barcelona.
Do you feel more free playing solo? Do you miss being in a band? How come you mostly play solo now?
I think I needed to sort of like cut down to myself and analyze things within myself. It's 100% related to things that happened to me in my personal life. When I split with the mom of my kids, it was a tremendous shift. We split and suddenly so many things didn't make sense for me. It was a moment of reflection. I felt like I needed to stop and cut down to zero with everything. I go into like yoga, and meditation, and I started doing martial arts, and I started playing solo. It was the quest of personal growth. It all translates to music.
Never date someone in the band. Come on, it's textbook. Don't they teach you this in the orchestra? You have a very clear interest and understanding of art. You travel a lot for your work, like for performing, but you always seem to manage to make time to visit museums and exhibitions and historical monuments and places. Where did this sensitivity to art come from?
When I started studying music, I started at a place, a school back in my hometown at the time, Camagüey, that's called Vocational Art School. It's where you go when you're very young to see what's your vocation. And it's really interesting because the teachers and instructors there, they monitor the development of the kids, and they see if they're really if they're in the right path. The school is a little bit of is an art school. So even though you're studying music, you spend time with dancers and painters and people who are interested in visual arts and stuff like that. So since I was 9, 10, it was art. All kinds of art became a feedback to my music. When I travel, it's a great opportunity to really get input from art, wherever it is. Museums, it's like a fridge of artistic good food. There's a way to express yourself through music, and people will identify to it if you're true to it. This is a very magical thing.